I'm glad that you're going to build a bima, and I'm going to help you make the star. All you got to do is basically make this. This is the whole key to everything. And in order to do this, you got to go back to you want your star to be. So I'm just going to make an arbitrary 10-inch in diameter star, which means that you get a compass with a pencil and you set it for 6 inches, because obviously 6 inches is, I'm sorry, 5 inches, because that's half a 10. So at the point, and this is not that easy, come on, you can do it. So right there is 5 inches. And make your circle. And then you just find out the top. And if you recall correctly from whenever you had your geometry, 6 points from the same diameter will give you 6 points, which is what we need for a Magen David. Should have sharpened my pencil before I did anything, but that's okay. So now you've got your 6 points, and you need a straight edge. I'm going to mark this with a Sharpie, but if you make it with 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch MDF, which is what I would recommend. Now, I would not recommend particle board, but it's just what I had for making this for you. Just make your star, or a triangle, I should say. And draw it all the way out to the sides. Be as accurate as you can be. So there is the first half, but the two horizontal lines on the star are very important, because that's what you will need for your registration. And you also want to make sure that your registration of the lines is top and bottom. You don't need to draw the entire star out, but you do need these horizontal registrations, and you do need the vertical registration. So in order to make your triangle, that's what you will need to do with a rotary saw like the Dremel. Cut it. Small handheld Dremel that I sent you the link to. The nice thing about this, it's very easy to work, and it's a very simple machine. So you got to find out the distance from this edge here to where the saw is going to cut, which is that right there. An easy way to do that is to simply put a straight edge over it, measure the distance, and it's a 1/2 inch. So what we need to do, obviously, is measure a 1/2 inch on all of these lines. And this is where I was telling you the accuracy is very important, which is also why you want to use a pencil or a very, very fine point ballpoint pen on your MDF. So make sure that your 1/2 inch is on the outside. Get your straight edge. And you do that on all 3 sides of the triangle that you're going to cut out. And you can cut it out. Okay, so now that you've got your second set of lines drawn, what you want to do is simply clamp your straight edge at the 1/2 inch of where you know it's got to be. And you want to make sure that the clamp head will not interfere with the smooth running of the head, or the side I should say, of the saw itself. Our straight edge, 1/2 inch off of the line that we drew, and again, you're going to make this with much thinner lines than I've done. And now it's simply time to cut it out. You got to make a plunge cut. And when you make a plunge cut, you can see where it's over here. You don't want to go too much farther back over here, but you're going to plunge cut it and then go forward. And you do that for all 3 sides. So you've got your 3 sides. And now you've got your template. So now that you've got your template cut out, you've got to get it aligned on the board that you want to put the star on. I don't know how big your board's going to be, if it's the exact same size as the one that I did. My memory says it was around 20 inches wide at the top, narrowing to about 10 inches wide at the bottom. So I just got this piece of cardboard here is just an example of what you can do. So again, what was important are the registration marks. So you've got to be very careful in terms of where you are marking your registration marks. And you'll see why in a moment. They're very important. So these are the 2 horizontal ones. And again, you're going to be doing this with a much thinner marker. I'm doing this so you can certainly see it. And if you want to extend it, however you can do it, and you do that in pencil, you can certainly erase it. So now you've got your registration marks on the board that you want to route out. To set out, we want to make sure that we're incredibly accurate. So we want to, in addition to have the registration lines here on your board, we also want to have the registration lines here on the side of the template as well. So you always put your pencil down, bring the marker over to it, and you've got your straight line. The same thing over here. Put your pencil on your marker, and you got that there, and do the same thing here. This will help substantially with the registration especially when you flip it. So get everything lined up. I didn't do it on the ends, but this is just for illustrative purposes. All 6 registration lines got to be incredibly accurate. And take your time doing this. And once you have everything accurate on all sides, clamp it down. So what you're going to need is a plunge router and a bearing bit with the bearing at the top. This is exactly the same size as the cutting edge itself, and this bearing will go against the edge of the template. And you'll need a small one. I got one 1/4 of an inch deep. You can see it in there. And the reason for that is because when you plunge the router down, so the bearing has to come through. The bearing has to come through the base so it can go against the edge of the template. And in order to make sure that it goes down what you need it to go down, what you've got to do is set the depth so it goes down only as deep as you need. I can send you a link to Tamar Hannah, who is a wonderful, nice Jewish girl, as a matter of fact, who has a great YouTube channel. I think I told you about her. She has an auxiliary base set that you can use. It's a really good thing for a router. Anyways, making sure that you keep it against the template at all times, you now have one side of the triangle done. You would then flip your template around, and again, making sure that your registration marks on all 6 sides are exactly even. That's why you need to have it on all 6 sides. So it's parallel and it's perfect. Clamp it down again. And use as many clamps as you can. And then you do the same thing. You plunge, keeping the bearing against the template, and you route your second triangle. And that's how you get a nice Magen David in a piece of wood with a triangle that you've marked out. So that gives you your negative. That gives you the inset of the star. Now you've got to make the positive. You've got to make a new template for what I call the 7s. You're going to have 6 pieces of wood that look like a 7 that you're going to interlace into the wood. Now, if you've made your inset 1/4 of an inch deep, then I would say make your stars 3/8, even a 1/2 inch thick. That'll give you the star that'll be proud of the surface. Plus, you can also round over the edges and give it a little bit of substance for you. I'll show you how to do that in a second. Okay, so now we're going to make the template for the 7s. I would use cardstock, which I don't have at the moment. So I've got this other piece of cardboard, and you take the compass, and hopefully it is not moved from when you made the first one, so it's going to be the exact same size. And try not to get it to move around. And you do the same thing. Now this time you're going to make the entire star, not just half the star. And then, depending on what size router bit you're going to use and how thick you want it, let's just say that you're going to make it a 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch thick. You're going to make the lines on the inside a 1/2 inch on the inside. Now I'm doing this quickly and probably not as accurately as I did it when I actually made it, but you will take your time and do it exactly as you can. I think my original star might have been 12 inches in diameter. I really don't remember. But anyways, so we're going to just say arbitrarily a 1/2 inch on the inside this time. So You're just gonna make the lines and make a second star on the inside. Okay, so now that you got your star drawn out, you really only need one segment, but I laid out all 6 segments. Remember, this is the inside line, this is the actual edge. So now you get the 7 that I'm talking about is from here to, oh, I didn't draw that line. So there's another line about right there. This is what I'm talking about when you're dealing with a 7. So if there's another line there, that's what you're going to need. And this is going to be the template for the secondary wood, whether it's going to be the oak or if you found a piece of butternut or you're just using something else. That's the 7. So what you do is you cut this out and you go to the bandsaw. So let's get ready to cut that out. We're just going to cut it out, something you really don't need to see me do. But because this is video and you can erase it anytime you want, let's just go ahead and do it. And again, cardstock or masonite, whatever you feel most comfortable with. And this is where you should be, it's okay to just be a little bit fat, because you can always sand the wood off. And let's see if my blade was sharp. Okay, here's your 7. This is the segment. And obviously you'll see that as you go around the star and you cut these out, you just go around. This will intersect here and here. This will intersect with here and here. This will intersect with here and here. This will intersect with here and here. And you go around all 6 sides, and that's where you do. So let's go find another piece of wood that you will make your 7s from. Okay, so I just found this piece of maple in the stack. Quite simply, hopefully you will have one side already jointed, nice and smooth. You'll put your long edge against the jointed edge. Give yourself a little bit of room. Trace it. There's 1. If you want to nest it, make 2, or just go down depending on how much wood you have. And again, accuracy is a key here. I'm just doing this really fast for the video, but you get the idea. 1, 2. If you nest this properly, you can use less wood. But if you just want to go down and make 6 of these, you've got it. And then you simply go to the bandsaw and you cut just to keep the line. And you cut out your 6 pieces. So now you've got 6 pieces of wood. All right, so now you've got your star, or excuse me, you've got your 7s. This is going to be the positive. It's going to be your 1/2 inch thick, or however thickness to give you have the ability of having the positive proud of the surface of the bema, of the leg. And hopefully you've made this just a little bit longer so you can trim it here and you can trim it there. But you've got 6 of these, and as you fit them into the negative of the star, that goes there. The second one would go here. The third one would go here. The 4th one would go here. The 5th one would go here. And the 6th one would go here. And that is how you make your Magen David for your bima. 6 7s, which is also 42, which is the answer to all the questions in the universe if you know about the Hitchhiker's Guide. Okay, so the final thing is that when you obviously route the negative into the leg, your points of the star are going to be rounded. They're not going to be sharp as you need them. So what you've got to do is get a chisel. This is 3/4 of an inch. And the reason why you want a longer chisel here is so you can put a good flat surface against the existing flat surface and rock toward the rounded surface, and then just keep that going where the flat is against the flat, and you do it on both sides, and you get it nice and sharp, and then take 1/4 inch chisel and you can clean it up on however you got to clean it up to make sure that you have a nice, clean, sharp edge both on the vertical wall side as well as the flat bottom side. And that'll give you the points that you need.